Let's do some Top That Trade. Ready to play? Our Phil Flynn, a Fox Business Network contributor, and Alan Knuckman, the chief market strategist at bullseyeoption.com. Round number one, fairy tale. The going rate for losing a tooth and getting paid a visit by the tooth fairy is a record $6.23. What's the financial lesson for the kiddos?
The lesson for the kiddos is inflation's a good thing. So it used to be $1.50 in 2001, so that's about a 300% gain in 25 years. But it teaches us that inflation can be good depending on which side you're on. If you look at home prices since 2001 have gone from 120,000 to 412,000. So that's a 250% gain. That's inflation, and most Americans, 60% of Americans have a home, and the average home equity is now $200,000. Inflation can be good.
At that rate, I think I'm going to start knocking out my teeth, right? I mean, come on. This is a great gig, right? You know, these kids are getting $100 bills. That is inflation. And I'm even hearing they're getting like fancy iPhones and video games. You know, back in our day, we were lucky if we got a quarter. But I don't think inflation is good.
Round number two, farm futures. The number of farms in the U.S. is shrinking. Does that automatically mean it's time to buy commodities due to less supply?
But I think it is time to buy corn. We're at historically low prices, right? I do think that we've seen a super cycle in the grain markets. And even though the carryover looks large right now, if you look at the risk premium based on previous years, there isn't any. So the market's basically pricing in that supplies are going to be okay. But when you see farmers under pressure, we're losing acres every year in the United States, and even though they're being picked up in other parts of the world, that's a problem. We have become too complacent when it's come to the food supply. And that happens historically in commodities time and time again. Complacency gets you in the end. So I think long-term, even though in the short term we have some headwinds for grain prices, longer term we're going to be looking back at these prices, and we'll be talking about Alan's favorite inflation in a couple of years when it comes to food prices.
Commodities always have price pop potential, and I'm going to say pop because a lot of these farmers now are old pops, and so nobody's filling in for them. And like Phil said, that when you forget it and you kind of fall asleep, that's when we have to be concerned about prices. We've been trading sideways in December corn for about 50 cents for the year. And you got to remember, we were at $8 corn just in 2022. We're at, $4.50, $4.70 right now. So I think the upside potential is always there in those grain commodities.
Round number three, beer or Bud? We're giving you the German spelling of beer because German beer consumption is down. At the same time, the stock price on Bud is down. What's the better buy, the German ETF EWG, or is this Bud for you?
I think I would drink them both. I think there's great opportunities in both of them. We've had the DAX, which is the index that tracks the German stock market, go from 15 to 17,000 in the last year. So break out of that, target's 19,000, so it's about 12% higher. You've got to realize that the beer consumption has been dropping for a long time. It's down 25% in the last 15 years or so. So if you look at Budweiser is about 50% off, and it's been between 40 and 80 since 2020. Right now, we're about the 60 midpoint. So I think there's a lot of upside when we look at Budweiser, because 120 was that high back in 2016, and that's what it technically targets.
Benjamin Franklin once said, beer is proof that God loves us, okay? And so I got to love Bud here over the German stock market. And if you look at both of these charts right now, they both look pretty bad, but it looks like Bud has got a little bit of an uptrend.
Here's your bonus one question for today. Is there such a thing as Waffle House golf shoes? Yes or no?
Heck yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Of course there is. Let's not be ridiculous. I sleep in them.
And well, actually, the golf shoes I had are actually made out of old waffles. So they just harden up and you can put them on.
You are both winners. A couple of Waffle House waffle chicken dinners are coming your way. Business First AM will be right back.
I like it. Okay, there you go.
All right. Go to businessfirstam.com for where to see our show on TV.